Well, hello, my beautifuls. You guys, we got to talk about the Idaho 4 case. Again, we are covering so many different cases right now, but in this situation, we really got to call out the big white elephant in the room. This isn't about a theory. This is about what is going on in that courtroom. And I got some, what the heck? I'm going to start calling them you can't make it up clips. How about that? We're going to call them you can't make it up clips. So there's like 2.5 hours of rigmarole between these folks in the courtroom. I went through it. I took out the pieces and the parts that to me matter. And we're going to talk about it for those that are still really working hard for the Idaho 4 to get true justice. Now, that being said, you know and I know I have not always been behind Ann Taylor. I have questions. We're all, vandals at heart over there. I'm not, but I'm just saying her connection to the university and then the university and, it all just gets kind of convoluted. So I watch her through a microscope. Not even a magnifying glass. I've got a microscope on her. And then I'm looking at the prosecution and I'm watching their action and I'm watching the judge and I'm looking at it and I'm going, hold the damn phone. You guys are all being underhanded. It's kind of like an analogy of what I saw is that there's a joke going on that only the principal and the teachers know the punchline to, okay? And then one of the teachers told like 4 of the students a couple parts of the punchline. And then the principal called them both in and was like, wait. What do you mean you told the punchline? You're supposed to save the punchline till the end of the semester here at the college, right? And it's almost as if they were like, you know what? Let's hold a meeting with all the students and broadcast all over what you've done. The whole meaning of this meeting is that secrets got revealed. If this was a recipe, this would be the secret ingredient getting revealed. So why would you then put it on a YouTube channel and broadcast one spilt grain of salt and make it the entire mine operation? And everybody gets as they use the word, injected into the case. You feel me? Now that's one side of it. So the other side of it is, why would you ask those specific questions that appear to make your client guilty, knowing, because I believe Ann Taylor knew, because she said, I wasn't surprised, even though the prosecution was, and I see the judges, I wasn't surprised, right? She didn't even do the quality control to read the questions and sign on the dotted line and say, yep, this is okay to share. This doesn't give anything away. This looks like it would be very, basic. Some of the basic questions could be like, do you feel the suspect, don't even use his name, do you feel the suspect is guilty or innocent? If yes, why? These are the things that the prosecution's saying, and I have to agree with that. So I'm twisted, but the real outcome is that it got aired on YouTube, which feeds the media, right? It used to be the media fed us, now we feed the media. So it is going to be disinseminated, or whatever they want to call it, at a massive level now. And so what you wanted to hold dear and near to preserve that jury pool, I couldn't think of the word. There's a specific word I'm looking for. Integrity. Oh, That's lost in the case. That's why I couldn't find the word. Hey, Jill Kendall, Natural Healing. You are watching a live. If you would like to see an edited bare bones version, stay tuned. I will be uploading like a very short 15-20 minute premiere of that version before we start our next video next time. We'll see how that goes for a little bit. If you guys like that, where you get that short version, no fluff, and it's real short, we'll see how that goes. So let's get into it. This is some of the I can't even make this crap up moments, you guys. Listen to this. Oh, before I start. Okay, hold on. Uno momento, por favor. Come on and work.
Questions about.
Okay. Before we start this rigmarole and circus act, I found it so, incredible, amazing, that Bill Thompson had the balls, the biggest gonads ever, to start his opening sentence in this, which I didn't happen to grab, but I assure you, go rewatch the very first statement he makes. And he starts it off with that they, the prosecution, are simply trying to, air quotes, frame the issue. Okay? I'm like, what? It came, if we were going by language, that is the worst Freudian slip I've ever heard a prosecutor say as their opening statement in a court of law with a suspect that half, because some believe it's not true, half the world believes is being framed. And you're going to start the hearing off with that the prosecution is simply trying to frame the issue. I was like, I'll be damned. Y'all are just feeding us. All right, here we go. Here's the issue. Woosa, woosa. All right. The issue is that the prosecution decided to do a survey. They asked very specific leading questions, such as you're going to hear. Unfortunately, it didn't get contained to just 400 people. It got broadcast all over. And the complication with that is that if there was some issue with poisoning the jury pool, then what the defense did was put a drop of salt in the ocean, whereas this broadcast in itself, talking about the secret in itself, produced by the judge, could be used in the future as compromising his ability to get a fair trial, because they are actually acknowledging, both of them, that this was not proper in some way, that the questions themselves will have to be rewritten and redone because they felt like it broke some serious rules. So now they broadcast it to all the world, and who knows what jury members that weren't aware of this survey now are aware of it, and now know those exact questions that allegedly poisoned the jury pool. It's like a snake that eats its damn tail. And I ask you, was this the ultimate goal? Are we dealing with good cop, bad cop? Where they're both on the same page? We're not falling for this. This was underhanded. Now, I had a problem in the beginning, and I tried to get over it with Ann Taylor. But when she said, and I'm not referring to the footage of Brian Kohlberger's car, I wanted to punch through my TV and grab her by her little blonde hair and say, "What did you just say? What words just came out of your mouth?" So I tried to get over it. But now I'm like, oh, you didn't just do this. And then I think the prosecution decided not only to make the defense look bad, but decided to broadcast this to deepen the insult. There's no change of venue after you broadcast it to thousands of people. It's like they decided to plan okay, whew, not one bit of this helped Kohlberger in any way. Zero. The hearing blew my mind, and I watched a lot of court, Jenny says. Right? Now, Johaleen, the judge looks like and sounds like he just got out of bed. Yep. Whitney says this pissed the prosecution off, yet the house could be demolished. All right, here we go, y'all.
Questions about the criminal justice system. Here's where we get to things that concern the state immensely. Question. Have you read, seen, or heard if Brian Kohlberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania? Question.
Have you seen, heard, or read if Brian Kohlberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania? Why put his name in it? Even if you get your change of venue, you're poisoning people's mind against your client, in my opinion.
Have you read, seen, or heard if police found a knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims?
What? Why are you asking this? Have you read, seen, or heard? Okay, so you prove your point with 400 people, you get your change of venue. You knew this was going to get pulled up and broadcast to thousands of people on Judgy Judge's little YouTube channel. I have it every day. I had a commenter state to me how ridiculous my theories are on the Kohlberger case, because why can't I just admit they found the bloody knife right next to one of the victims' body with Brian's blood all over it? And I'm like, you are a tater tot. No, I didn't say that. But I said, quit wasting my time, your time, and anybody else's. And get off my channel. Thank you. Because this person is so out of it. They're just there to waste time. And to continue to play this role that these three people are playing in this court of law, to me, in my opinion, is making a mockery of our judicial system. How do you guys feel? Linda Whittaker. Is it Whittaker? Or Whittaker? There we go. Welcome to Starlight Buds, lovely. Thank you. Teresa Hayes says this is one of the most bizarre cases. To me, it's like the system on both sides are playing with this man's life, and either way, he is screwed. Bam. You get a gold star. Down the rabbit hole to hell. Welcome to 1111 True Crime. BT saying the questions are not true and will taint jury pool has helped AT, as BT can't use any of this as evidence in trial. Now, DNA on knife sheath, as he said, no questions were true. No, he didn't say no questions were true. I've got that clip. He said some of the questions aren't even true. Some. Sherry Crow says, I still want to know what happened to the female judge who initially indicted him. April Wine, welcome aboard. And you say, almost like this was planned. Amen, sister. Pass the butter. I'm just saying. That's how I feel. I feel this was a move with the pact, to ensure that they get as much coverage to really call out. I'm just going to play this, y'all. My opinion doesn't matter. Yours does. I value yours. Listen up.
Question. Have you read, seen, or heard that DNA found on the knife sheath was later matched to Brian Kohlberger? Question. Have you read, seen, or heard if Brian Koberger owned the same type of car recorded on video driving in the neighborhood where the killings occurred? Have you read, seen, or heard if the cell phone tower data showed that Brian Koberger made several trips near the victim's home in the month before the killing?
How about some questions such as, have you read, seen, or heard that the suspect drove a completely different year of vehicle than the year the LE were originally searching for? How about, have you read, seen, or heard there are 3 unknown male DNAs still untested? How about, have you read, seen, or heard that this individual, I'm just going to stop. Here you go.
Have you read, seen, or heard if the university students in Moscow and their parents lived in fear until Brian Koberger was arrested for the murders?
See, and if this person really had no deep understanding of this case at all, I got to find out why my puppy's yelping. Hold on. Come on, baby. Lucky like forgot where mom was. Come on, baby. Sorry, guys, for yelling in your ear. I know I just got in trouble for that. I realize I'm not muted. I'm sorry for yelling. Okay, so you feel me. You're feeling me. We're... You guys, this is not normal in a trial. It's like complete to me. Like, why would you broadcast a secret to everyone that you're having the meeting about because you wanted the secret to be kept quiet? Why would you then broadcast it on YouTube at all? I'm lost. There's a gag order. We don't want to talk about this. Well, I'm going to tell you all what the secret is, and then we're going to broadcast it all. Here you go.
Have you read, seen, or heard if Brian Koberger said that he was out driving alone on the night of the murders? Have you read, seen, or heard if Brian Koberger stalked one of the victims? Have you read, seen, or heard if Brian Koberger had followed one of the victims on social media? Your Honor, there is absolutely no question but that those questions are disseminating by means of communication evidence expected to be presented, evidence that could be or would be inadmissible at trial. And I will say there are a number of these representations placed in the form of a question, but representations of fact that are not true.
So there are representations of some of these that are not true. Now listen to me. Let's just say that for every person that heard about the secret questions, the person that exposed the person to the question had to pay $1. Ann Taylor owes $400 in this scenario. How many does Bill Thompson, the prosecutor, now owe? Do the math. Who owes more? Because for every person that hears the secret questions that nobody's supposed to know because they have to do with trial, right? How many bucks is he going to owe? Right? Bill Thompson? My money is on Bill Thompson because he's broadcasting it, right? But even if you're just saying, well, he's not the one really broadcasting it, it's coming out of his mouth. He's the one sharing the information. So then it falls on Judge, right? And I'm sorry, but Judge Judy over here likes to sit back and smirk. And guess what? It sounds like he's getting his own personal legal representation through Bill Thompson throughout this entire thing to me.
It would not be offered at trial, or the performance or results of the examination test. And these questions specifically refer to DNA testing. Now, I recognize that the defense says, well, all of this information is out there in the public media somewhere, but that misses the point. That's assuming that every person in Latah County who is called has followed all of this nonsense in social media, has followed extensive coverage.
Does Bill Thompson think he's only talking to Latah County? How? There's no, I can't make this up. There is absolutely no common sense. You are broadcasting it to thousands of people who are then sharing it with thousands of people. I feel guilty for sharing it, but I got to get it out there because this is absolutely a joke.
There are people who consciously avoid reading coverage or listening to coverage about this case because they don't want to. That's the fallacy of the position defense is taking here.
Okay, let's hear this next little bit. This is about, they're going to remove the 400 people from the jury pool, exclude them from being on the jury, so they want every single name of the people that the defense asks these questions of. So how are they going to remove all the people watching them talk about the questions?
Judge, as we move forward in this case, that the state will be asking the defense, and if they aren't willing to provide it, asking the court to order the defense to provide the identity of every person that was contacted in those surveys. So when we get to voir dire, we can identify people who have been contacted, I guess is the best word to describe, and faced with these questions. And so we can incorporate that into the questions during voir dire to see just how much impact, if any, it had on each one of those particular jurors. I don't know how else to deal with this. I realize
disqualified 40 people.
Well, we could 400.
400. That's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah. 400.
And we can do that. Latah County has almost 40,000.
Did you see Brian? He actually looked over at him. I mean, you guys, whether you think the man's guilty or not, he's got to be absolutely screaming in his head. Because he can hear the idiocy. I don't know what the word is for it. It's absolutely lunatic. This is so, oh my God. I can't with this case. Gretchen, just a minute.
Residents, although not all of those are going to be part of the jury panels, prospective jury panels, but 400 may be a reasonably small number. And yes, I think that certainly would be a viable solution, is just identify those people. We can certainly identify them by telephone number it was called, and just not include them on the list.
Since you're standing up, you want to talk about due process?
Actually,
since you're standing up, do you want to talk about due process? Good Lord. I mean, that's such a hard thing to do, is to actually have to stand up in a minute after giving somebody else a chance to respond, which is part of the problem from the defensive side, is that they were not allowed to even make a peep from their side before the decision to stop the order was already made between the two gentlemen, prosecution, and his good old alma mater right there, judgy judge. Right? Judge Judy. All right. What are you guys feeling?
High profile.
Let's see what this one is. Let me grab this real quick. What one is this? I think it is. I don't know. We'll find out. Hey, Joyful, Dope, and Lovely. Hey, Teresa Hayslop. Good to see you all. What's this one, you guys? Whitney says, Bill absolutely wanted this all over the internet. Otherwise, he could refer to the sealed questions. Boom. You, Whitney, get a gold star. That's right. Kim, princesses, my heart bleeds for these victims and their families. This is such injustice. Hey, Happy Helms, how are you?
File case.
Well, apparently, Mr. Alden did not even see the non-dissemination order, and you apparently did not give that to him. So this is a very not a usual case, number one. And you know that we've been working very, very hard to keep the sort of noise out of the case.
That's why you're broadcasting on your own YouTube. Because you're trying to keep the noise out of the case. But who's really producing the initial noise? Right? Who picks the fight first? The courts. By broadcasting something like this. Pulling an idiot move so that they get coverage. And so that it literally, no matter what, Brian didn't win.
And now it's been injected at least to these 400 people without a permission of the court, without discussion with the state. I mean, that's troubles me. And then
I can't contain myself, y'all. This is why I have a YouTube platform. I'm about to blow it. So before we hand it over to Miss Ann Taylor, I'm going to pretend that he's talking to me. Judge Judy, please listen to me. Let's talk about how any of this information got out there. I would like to address the court to pull up exhibit, whatever the number is, for this piece of crap affidavit that was written by a Brett pain in the ass. And in this affidavit, it was made public to the entire world, which half of this, which alleges that my client was driving the wrong year of car, was seen in the area multiple times within hours, which turned out to be like 8, 9, 10 hours later, at a completely location where he's grabbing a few groceries seen on camera. He wasn't trying to hide. He wasn't by the house. But there's a lot in that affidavit that you've already poisoned the jury pool. And so for you to continue to bring this out in public and make a big to-do about it, I guarantee you we're going to have a mistrial. All right, Mr. Green Jeans, can we get back on track?
and then when I'm being accused, directly accused, okay, by you in your brief, that I violated his due process rights. Now, that's not what the law says, and that's not what the facts are. And you even cited cases that say exactly what due process is in the law, right?
I understand that, and I agree that's what due process is. My issue is that the order was signed, stopping our work without a chance to be heard. It's as if the state and the court had decided we violated the non-dissemination order, and we didn't.
All I was doing was stalling it.
All I was doing is stalling it. So the prosecution starts off with their opening statement in this particular hearing with that the prosecution is simply trying to frame the issue. And now we have the judge admitting that all he was doing on that Friday is trying to stall the defense. And now the defense has a cop-out for why Brian is going to sit there, and notice that as we get going in this, that not even one of the three acknowledged that 2 weeks have been lost on the man's life that's sitting next to him, and 2 weeks has been lost getting justice for the victims' families. It's about their schedules. Just saying. What do you guys feel? It's so frustrating. Hello, Best Me. You say hello, Mama D. I'm so glad I found your channel a little while back. I love it. Aw, thank you, lovely. Thornblaze Lash, who allows surveys? Idaho law? Well, and it does happen. Surveys can be done to see, if you do need to move. But I would be asking questions that if I was the defense, I would push it as far as I could. But I would ask questions in favor of the innocence of my subject, of my client. I wouldn't implicate him further in the questions that I asked. And that's what I feel was being done. As well as for once in my life, I've never seen it where the prosecution appears to be protecting the defendant. It's freaking me out. It's back ass words. It's frustrating. Happy Hounds, I was screaming at the television when it was going on. He huffs and puffs. He wants to blow the house down. Honey, he already tore the house down. It's gone. There's no way the jury's going to hear what could be heard on that third floor. They will never know if that roommate could hear crap because there's no floor to stand on and listen. Kim Bernier says Bill Thompson has and continues to run the show, including the judge Judy. I want to know who is Bill Thompson's really protecting. One of the 3 DNAs is not tested, or just one? Who is he protecting? It's all 3 of the DNAs, right? Yeah, none of them. And we know they did preliminary tests, or they wouldn't know they were male. So, obviously, there's no reason not to test them, in my opinion. I mean, it gets frustrating. Whitney says that's a due process issue. Bill can get anything signed from the judge before Ann even gets to talk. Exactly. Rondi Potter says, who did defense hire to do questions in the survey? Do we know? Yeah, they do reveal who it is. Let me see if this is the one we're on. Let me give it a whirl.
I didn't write the questions.
Oh, yeah, this is the one. So here we're going to find out, which is very interesting, that the person that wrote the questions, okay, that Ann did not approve. She never read the questions and said, wait a minute, this makes my client look guilty, or this doesn't make my client look guilty. None of that. She literally approved topics. That's it. Never double checked them before they were thrown out there, even though she knew, according to her own words, that she was not surprised that the prosecution and the judge were surprised. She knew that this was going to be a stink. Okay? So my point being, are we dealing with bad cop, good cop, but they're really not either anybody on the up and up here. Are we? Here we go. Listen to this.
I didn't write the questions, Judge. Those questions are generated by Brian Edelman, and he can tell you who he is and his educational background and why the questions are crafted as they're crafted. But I approved him doing this survey. This is not an anomaly. These kinds of surveys are done in high-profile cases quite often. I don't know how I could present to the court what's going to be required at the venue change hearing without understanding what is going on.
Sherry Lovely, I know you're hoping for the best that this gets us a change of venue, and you say Ann's goal was to get out of the area and change of venue. I think it worked, right? I will be absolutely shocked if they get a change of venue. Absolutely floored. Because I believe it was the exact opposite. Now, with this large broadcast on YouTube, which, like I said, is going to feed the national media because everybody's going to be a buzz, and you see national media is starting to become more and more YouTuber central, right? They're leaving the nightly news and they're getting on YouTube and starting their own channel. Why? Because that's where you get the most views. Now, they broadcast it to every YouTuber in the world that wanted to watch it. And so, where are you going to move? because you just leveled the playing field. There's no point to move and change the venue. In my humble opinion, I think it absolutely played against Kohlberger in a strategically pre-planned, predestined move.
With the public. This is an anonymous survey. This is not one where anybody's identified as far as the defense wants to know this or the prosecutor wants to know this. It's a random survey, and there's a reason why there are general questions and more specific questions. And Mr. Edelman can explain that, but I'll do my best to paraphrase that.
Okay, well, I'm just curious. Did Mr. Edelman, was he aware of the dissemination order?
I don't know if he was aware of that or not, but we gave him no information in the case, Your Honor. He received nothing from us.
Right. Thomas Blake Slash says absolutely, but they're not prospective jurors nationally. No, but how many Latah people are watching this? How many other counties in Idaho are watching this that would have otherwise not seen this? You feel me? So it really is kind of like the pot calling the kettle black times 10, times 100, times thousands, in my opinion. Kim Barnier says they have to keep the trial there. It's all been agreed upon a long time ago. It will not be moved ever, in my opinion. I have to say, I'm very suspect on that too. I'm like, that could be very much right, because they want control. They want control. The university, in my opinion, wants control, and they have it. These people went to the university law school, every damn one of them. They were part of the university. They're all vandals. They're alumni, and they are used to working together, and they're going to work together in the future long after there's a Brian Kohlberger. And every one of them wants a foot up. And they're getting national coverage, not only to voice their career, but also to make sure they wrap this up nice and tidy, as if it's just completely transparent. However, what they're doing is they're putting a gag order on to make people more curious, and then when it gets violated, they broadcast what is being violated, the secret being told, all over for everybody. It makes absolutely no damn sense.
As far as no police reports, no contact with our client, no interviews, he received no information. His entire construct of this survey is, as he does in his high-profile cases, he pulled the media local to this area to see what the most common stories were. Those are things that are in the public arena. This court and council knows how much coverage this case has received. And he does what he does by looking only at what's in the public.
You know what? If I was a body language expert, I would note how many times Judge Judy's eyes dart over while Anne's speaking at critical times to see Bill's reaction. Because it's consistent with certain things being said. It's almost as if he's watching to see a reaction by facial expressions, or even, I've seen it in other cases. If you want to call me crazy, like I tell you, tell me to put a tinfoil hat on, I'll hold it up right in front of you. Listen to me. In the Steve Avery case, Ken Kress was literally signaling, quite clearly, putting his finger over his lips, as in, shh, don't say anything, to shut up the witness that the defense was talking to. There are hand signals, okay? Now, I'm not watching, and I can't see because it's too far away, but I do know that judge is watching the prosecution side of the room.
We didn't provide him any police reports. We didn't.
I'm sorry. It's just that does miss the point. I mean, it's kind of ironic that We have worked so
I'm biting my teeth because he's going to tell us it's ironic. He's going to tell Anne it's ironic that all these people have worked so hard to keep this secret, and how dare her share it with 400 people while he's on camera in front of thousands of people.
hard, including you, okay, both sides, to protect a fair trial. Okay, and our concern from the very beginning was all the media stuff floating around, okay, that affects your client, Mr. Koberger, to get a fair trial. And some of these questions actually create a concern about, well, that they're inculpatory.
I agree with him on that. First time I've agreed with this judge. Some of these questions make Brian Kohlberger sound guilty, especially if the listener or a person responding to the survey assumes that prosecution wrote it.
It could be prejudice for his client, okay? And that I'm just surprised that both of you didn't come together and say, you know, there are certain things that we probably shouldn't put into the public on a telephone call. It really concerns me, and that's why I did what I did that Friday.
Thank you, Sassy, for telling me I had the screen on. Here we go. What's this one?
All right, Mr. Thompson or Mr. Nye?
Oh, crap, Sassy. If I weren't you guys, if it weren't for Sassy, we wouldn't have a program. I was muted that whole time. All right, let's roll with it. Roll with it. Roll that beautiful beam footage. Thank you, Sassy, for 17 months. I love you, darling.
I'm not sure that the due process issue is something that's at issue right now.
I think I've already made this decision. I mean, based on the facts and the law. I mean,
There's no due process violation.
Oh my God, he's going to tell the judge. He's going to be giving, right now, you are going to listen to Bill Thompson basically give his own, as a lawyer, he is giving legal advice to the Judge Judy right here.
Here.
No.
There is nothing wrong. In fact, law contemplates the court can take emergency action to stop something and call a timeout until it affords everybody the opportunity to have their say and the court can make the final decision. That is all Your Honor did here. And I would suggest, Judge, that it would not be prudent or proper for Your Honor to change or limit your own authority on that. I think that you have to continue to reserve to yourself the ability to act quickly, to cause a timeout if you are alarmed sufficiently to justify that, and to give the parties an opportunity to appear before you and sort it out. before.
I'm not going to change that. That's for sure, because the law allows me to do that.
Yes, sir.
And I know what due process means.
And I say that only in light of an email that your staff attorney sent to us the other day ago that suggested that maybe the court was not going to be entering orders without full hearings with everybody.
Oh, well.
Okay. Okay. So I'm only giving you legal advice based on the email that you sent us. That you weren't sure you should be stopping things if you were uncomfortable. I'm only giving you legal information saying it's your right to do so. And I'm only a lawyer. Right? Yeah. Yeah, Bill Thompson controlling everything and evidence, including the judge, says Kim Barnier. Dog the Bounty Hunter says, wow. Best me, yeah, I know. They get along for sure, but I think it's more. He's trying to get a real feel of Bill Thompson and is really getting mad about what Ann is saying, and he wants the judge to stop her from talking. Interesting. Okay, here we go.
Ms. Taylor wanted, she said, from here on out, we're going to talk about that too. Because now I understand, because I haven't seen it yet, because I didn't have a computer, that you are stipulating to sealing all of the discovery stuff. And I just stopped, okay, in terms of signing on those orders that you're sending me, because I don't want to be accused of doing the wrong thing. And there's another situation that you brought up, Ms. Taylor, about that there was a prior thing where I had done that about the IPD.
Yeah.
And the state asked to do a public order just to say that we provided the IDG or some of the IDG to you. And that doesn't really say anything except that.
I don't know, you guys.
And we said this already, and it keeps getting missed in the arguments here. We don't care about surveys. We care about these particular questions asked in this particular survey. The defense is welcome to contract with people from California or wherever, I don't care, to go and ask people, can you be fair? What have you heard about this? All of those questions that Ms. Taylor was just talking about at page 2 of the transcript, those are appropriate questions for a survey. Page 4 are not appropriate questions for a survey. Just because they're put in the form of the question doesn't change the fact that they are an affirmative representation of a fact that if the hearer, the listener, was not aware of it, now they have been tainted by it.
Exactly. In front of all of the YouTube audiences. Y'all, help me.
They have been, in your Honor's words, they have been injected with that information. That is a clear violation of the non-dissemination order. To think there's a distinction between putting something out in a press release and talking to a private citizen is a distinction without substance. Those are both public contacts. And I can guarantee that if I went down to the bar and had a few drinks and was talking with some people and say, hey, did you know this about the Koberger case? And the defense found out about it, they would go ballistic. And for good reason. That should never happen. But that's exactly what's happened here. Not by Ms. Taylor. I'm not faulting Ms. Taylor for the questions themselves, but by the people they hired to do this. And it had to stop. Your Honor was absolutely correct. Cut it off. And let's sort this thing out. And if we lose 2 weeks, well, we can make up 2 weeks. Your decision was perfectly appropriate. For the defense to claim that there's some due process violation there is without any legal basis. The defense's objection is, we don't like it, Judge. Well, there's lots of things that happened in court that I haven't liked, not in this court.
Well, probably a few.
Well, maybe with Your Honor in other cases outside.
Ha 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 ha. Chuckle, chuckle, snortle, snortle. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, whatever. We lost 2 weeks. Down the rabbit hole says, do you still? Oh. Happy Hound says, it is really obvious, in my opinion, that BT is running this trial, the prosecution, right? The snooper, why is the state so concerned if they have such a solid case? So much so, they buried a crime scene. Boom! You get 10 gold stars, snooper, and welcome to 1111 True Crime.
That happens. That's part of the game.
I'm not here to.
But just because somebody complains doesn't mean that it's legally wrong, and there is no due process violation here. And Mr. Knight is prepared to argue due process minutia if that's what we want. But I don't think we need to deal with that. We are dealing with the issue of these questions in the survey. They are completely inappropriate. We have a group of at least 400 people in Lake Tahoe County who have been exposed to this in violation of the non-dissemination order. I think Your Honor is probably right. The only way we can deal with, or the best way to deal with that, would be to exclude them from any prospective jury pool. But we sure as heck don't want to say to the defense's consultants, yes, go do this in other venues as well, where if we can't pick a jury here in Lake Tahoe County, we may have to go to. Go ahead and mess with them too.
Go ahead and mess with all the YouTubers too. Yeah, that's what you just did. All right, what's this one?
And we said this already, and it keeps.
Oh, we did that one. All right, you guys, let's get to talking a little bit here. I have a different song. This is by Brandon Maddox, and some of you may have heard it. It's one of my favorite songs. I am in love with the way he sings. And when I was doing the Stephen Avery case, I contacted him, and he always gave me permission to use the song anytime I felt. And so I'm going to play it in its full entirety before I close today. But I do it in thinking of the Idaho 4 and how as the time ticks on, will we ever get justice? We have to just know that the truth, it shall be shown to us. It will come forward. For Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie, for everybody, the truth will come forward. And in this case, I think we're seeing the truth. That was complete sabotage in all ways. None of that, in my opinion, helps Brian Kohlberger. But you have the right to totally disagree. And I love you. Even though you may have the opposite opinion, you matter to me. Hey, Sassy's right. If you know what this means, you know. And if you don't, you don't. But hey, we all live on Avery Road. I love you guys. To the moon and back.
You can tell yourself and all our friends I was wrong and you were right. But your sins that happened in the dark will come out in the light. I'm not gonna waste my breath, I won't put up a fight. 'Cause the days are gonna whisper and the months are gonna talk until the years yell out the truth. Time will tell, time will tell on you. When a train whistles far away, and when the cold wind blows, when the lightning in your eyes reveals the darkness in your soul, the world will be reminded of what it already knows. 'Cause the days are gonna whisper and the months are gonna talk until the years yell out the truth. Time will tell, time will tell on you. No one may surely as the seasons change, you feel like every finger points at you, 'cause you're to blame. And the days are gonna whisper, and the months are gonna talk, until the years yell out the truth. Time will tell.
Sing it, you guys. I will tell on you. Thank you, Brandon Maddox. You rock. You are an amazing musician. I will be putting a link out there about Brandon Maddox. Make sure that you have access to the song. And I would love you to support this artist. He has always been a supporter of true justice. With that, I love you guys to the moon and back.